Hi there, this is Tony from pianotone.ca, and this is my review on the Roland GO Piano 61 portable keyboard. Roland also makes an 88 key version of this piano, although they do have quite a few differences actually, so be aware that this review is specific to the 61 key version. I've been looking into portable options for piano players to have something to easily take to a friend's house or to the park or to a low-key band practice, or even for small casual performances like a cafe or busking or something. And I've been wanting to review this piano for quite a while. It's been out for a few years. And my local music store finally added one to their rental pool, so I immediately rented it for doing this review. So let's check it out. Okay, so just to sum up the features on the Roland GO Piano 61. The keys, 61 actual full size, so 165 millimeter octave width. I will talk about that in the review. Box-shaped synth action keys with 4 levels of touch sensitivity, so 3 levels and then fixed. And simulated ivory matte key tops. Voices, we've got 40 voices total, which includes 10 pianos, 7 electric pianos, 7 organs, and then 16 other voices that include 2 drum kits and some sound effects. 128 notes of polyphony. For effects, there's an adjustable reverb with 10 levels, a non-adjustable chorus, and for some of the piano voices, there's a non-adjustable damper resonance already built in. For connectivity, there's an 1/8 inch headphone output, also used as an audio out. There's an 1/8 inch audio in port. There's a MIDI USB, it's a micro B port actually, that's for MIDI out. And then there's a 1/4 inch pedal input for a generic sustain pedal, no pedal included with the piano though. This keyboard also has Bluetooth audio in, so you can stream audio into the keyboard, so you can play along with stuff. No Bluetooth audio out though. And there is also a Bluetooth MIDI out. It also has a basic backlit menu screen. There's a very simple one-track song recording ability, and you can actually store multiple songs. There's a metronome. You can transpose up and down steps. There's also a very hand of octave shift functionality with this keyboard. 5 watts of speaker power, so 2.5 per side. And you can enable the speakers while the headphone and audio out port is in use, which is cool. It can run on batteries, 6 AA. It only weighs 8.5 pounds, and it's compatible with the Roland Piano Partner 2 app. Okay, so the user interface on the Roland GO Piano uses smooth touch buttons, so it's not a tactile interface, and I actually prefer tactile buttons myself, but this didn't take too long to get used to. You do get an audible sound when you press a button. I don't know if you'll hear this or not, but it does tell you that it gives you basically feedback that you're actually pressing something, so it didn't take too long to get used to. Now there's a volume control over here on the left. It's basically volume up and volume down. I do actually prefer a dial or a slider or something for volume as opposed to the up and down buttons, but Roland tends to do this on a lot of their keyboards, but not the end of the world. This button here will get you into the settings menu, and then you can use what are actually the octave shift buttons I'm about to tell you about to scroll through different settings. And then once you get to one and you want to change a setting, then you can use the plus and minus buttons to alter whatever that setting happens to be. Then this will get you into the built-in song menu, so you can go through different songs that are built in and you can play along with those. That's to turn the metronome on and off. And then this is a home button, so I'm actually going to hit that just to go back home. And then now these are really handy octave shift buttons. Super important, at least to me, on a 61 key keyboard to be able to quickly and easily be able to do an octave shift. So it's really nice that this is right there, because for the most part when I'm playing a 61 key keyboard, I usually have it shifted down an octave, but then there's the odd song that I want to shift it up, so it's super easy to just go back and forth with that. Then the play and the stop button is to either start or stop the built-in songs or a song that you've recorded. And then that's a record button to record a song. And you can actually, it's just single track and it's MIDI, but you can actually record more than one song on the keyboard and store it. Now if we shift way over to the right, this once again was the home button. These are basically voice category buttons, so these are how you make your voice choices. So right now you can see I'm in piano and I'm on the Go Grand, which is number 1. If I was to hit plus or minus, then this will switch between the different voices. And then if I want to switch to a different category, I can hit the electric piano and then switch between all the electric pianos, and then hit the organ, switch between those, and then this is basically other. So that's how you choose your voices. So it's a pretty straightforward interface. So the keys on the Roland GO Piano 61 are 61 full-size box style, so shaped like a piano key. Synth action keys with 4 levels of touch sensitivity. It's actually 3 layers or levels, and then fixed. And the keys do have a bit of a matte finish on them to help keep your fingers from slipping, which is a nice touch. There's also a felt dust cover at the end, like you see on a digital piano, that will help get a little bit of dust from getting in there, which is a good thing. And one of the features of the keys on the Go Piano that I really like is that it's an actual true full-sized key. Now that means that they have an octave width, so from the left side of a C key up to the right side of a B key, so it's full octave of 165 millimeters. That's what you're going to find on almost every digital piano out there. For whatever reason, and I don't know why, and I don't know why nobody else seems to ever talk about this, but most synth action keyboards, instead of 165 millimeters, are 159 to 160. So it's just a little bit of a difference, but every key is just a tiny bit narrower. Now I find my Casio Tone CTS1 keyboard, which I really like, has only a key width, an octave width of 160 millimeters. And I actually find that going from my full-sized keys on my digital piano to the keys that are a little bit narrower on the Casio Tone keyboard, that's almost as challenging of an adjustment as it is to go from the fully weighted keys on my piano to the semi-weighted keys on my keyboard. So it is cool that they've got the full-size keys on the Roland Go Piano. Now I have to admit that I found the keys on the Go Piano a little challenging to get used to, and I'm not quite sure why. It did take me some time, in particular in getting used to how to control my dynamics. Could definitely just be me. I'm still really just an adult beginner at keyboard and piano, but I did have more trouble getting used to this than I do with a lot of other keyboards. I don't know if this is why, but I did find that the key travel is quite a bit shallower. Key doesn't go down as far as almost any other keyboard or digital piano I've ever played. So as a result, there wasn't much physical room to work with for controlling your dynamics. I actually found the dynamics to be really sensitive as a result of that shallow key travel. I did get used to it though, just took a little bit. And I also found that switching the touch sensitivity to a lighter setting actually helped me with this. Now the keys are not weighted, but they probably offer a bit more spring resistance than most synth action keyboards do. And once I got used to controlling my dynamics, it was kind of a piano-ish playing experience playing the Go Piano, so that's actually very good. The keys are by no means weighted in any way though. The keys on my Casio Tone CTS1 actually have a bit of they're a bit closer to a semi-weighted feel than the keys on the Go Piano. So the voices, there's 40 voices total on the Roland GO Piano 61. Included in those are 10 piano voices, 7 electric piano voices, 7 organ voices, and then 16 other. And the other includes actually a couple of drum kits and 1 sound effects set. And then there's some other voices. Most of the pianos in the electric piano voices are definitely the highlight for me. There's some really good quality voices in there. There's some very full sounding pianos with a really strong low end, which actually reminds me a lot of my Roland FP30. Piano voices on that piano were very kind of beefy in the low end, so it sounded really full. It was very cool. The electric pianos include some really good samples and include some really good velocity triggered changes. Now you cannot layer or split the voices on this keyboard, which is really a shame, but included in the piano section is a decent piano and strings voice. And then I actually even prefer, there's a really impressive piano and pad voice if you want to fill in the back of your piano on a ballad or something. The only voices on here that are actually not the greatest in my opinion are kind of the horns and the flutes and that kind of stuff in the other section. But the real important ones for a keyboard player are going to be your pianos and electric pianos and organs, and those ones are pretty good. So here's a video demonstrating just some of the main voices on the Roland GO Piano 61. Okay, so just to give a quick example of the reverb levels on the Go piano, there's 10 levels overall. It defaults at 4, so I'm actually going to turn the reverb off. Then I'm going to play on the just the default piano voice. Then I'll turn it up to 4, which is the default, and then I'll play a bit more, and then I'll turn it up to 10 to crank it so you can see those three kind of extremes. So let's check it out. Connectivity. For connectivity, we've got a 1/4 inch port for a generic sustain pedal. There's no pedal included with the Go piano. Make sure when you get a pedal that you get one with a polarity switch, because in that way it's going to work with any brand of keyboard out there. It's also a 1/8 inch headphone port that also doubles as your audio out if you're going to connect to any external amplification or to a audio interface, that type of thing. There's also a USB to device port. It's a micro B port, so it's the smaller USB port. That allows you to connect the Go Piano to a tablet or a computer or whatever to transfer MIDI data to use MIDI compatible apps like GarageBand, Flowkey, Piano Partner 2. There's also a handy 1/8 inch audio in so that you can connect an external sound source like an iPhone or an iPad to stream audio from. So you can play along with YouTube music files or an online piano course through your piano's speakers or headphones. Now, one huge feature of the Go Piano that's really kind of rare in this price range and in this kind of the small portable keyboard market is the ability to enable the speakers while the headphone or audio out is connected. That's actually an awesome feature if you plan to use this for any kind of performing, because you're definitely going to need external amplification. So when you've got the headphone port connected to that amplification, typically on most keyboards, like my Casio Tone CTS1, for example, you can't hear anything out of the speakers, and there's nothing you can do about that. On the Go Piano, you can set it so that you still do hear what you're playing out of the speakers, so it kind of gives you a bit of a monitor speaker setup while you're performing, and that's a huge feature I really wish my Casio Tone had. So the Go Piano also has Bluetooth. There's Bluetooth audio and Bluetooth MIDI available. Bluetooth audio allows you to stream audio into the keyboard without needing to connect to the audio input port with a cable. So you can play along with videos or music or listen to your online piano course through your headphones or speakers wirelessly instead of using the cable and the audio in port. So that works really, really well. Now there's also Bluetooth MIDI, and that's intended to take the place of using the USB port and a cable to transmit MIDI data to your device, and to do it wirelessly instead. The only problem here, though, is that there's usually some pretty significant latency when you try to use MIDI wirelessly, where there's a delay between when you hit the key and when your app or software picks that note up. And I did test this in GarageBand. I tried to set up a Bluetooth MIDI connection, and was pretty much unusable, to be completely honest. The latency was bad enough that there's no way I'd be able to do a recording and stay in time with the metronome or anything. So for MIDI, stick to the cable, but for Bluetooth audio, it works really, really well if you want to use that instead of the audio in port. Okay, so other features on the Roland GO 61. Portability. One of the benefits of buying a keyboard without fully or semi-weighted keys is portability. The Roland GO Piano 61 is very portable. It only weighs about 8.5 pounds, so it's super light. Most digital pianos weigh at least 25 pounds, if not more. And it's also got a very small profile, partially due to the keys going right up to the edge instead of having a big wide border there. That actually helps quite a bit in the size. It's 34.5 inches long, 10.5 inches deep, and 3.2 inches or so high. The Yamaha PSR E373, for example, is 3 inches longer, an inch thicker, and 4 inches deeper, so quite a bit bigger. This is still a tiny bit bigger than my Casio Tone CTS1, but they're both super light and super portable and quite small. It also runs on AA batteries, and that's a big part of the portability package there. And like I was saying earlier, the ability to enable the speakers at the same time as using the audio out to connect to an external amp really adds to the portability package for anybody that wants to use this for performing. And the Go Piano also has a lot of the standard features that most keyboards have nowadays, like a metronome and the ability to transpose keys. It also has octave shifting, which most 61-key keyboards have, and that's a big feature on a 61-key keyboard too. I use that all the time to move the octave up and down depending on the song I'm playing. The nice thing about the Go Piano, though, is that there's dedicated octave shift buttons right on the keyboard, so it's super easy and super fast to shift your octave. You don't have to memorize some kind of key setting, and you don't have to deep dive into a menu to shift the octave. You can just do it really quickly on the fly. And the Go Piano also has a simple single-track song recorder. It's MIDI data that you'll be recording. It's very easy to access just off of the buttons on the keyboard, and it does allow you to store more than one song. It's not really intended to be a method to actually record something to use or export to a DAW or something like that. It's just basically a quick way to capture an idea if you come up with something you don't want to forget it. And the fact that you can store more than one file on there is pretty handy. Yeah, the speakers on the Roland GO Piano 61 are 5 watts total, so 2.5 per side. They're definitely intended for practice or playing in a small room. While they are the same watts as the speakers on the Casio Tone CTS-1 and the Yamaha PSR E373, in my opinion, these speakers are kind of the least quality of those three keyboards. A little bit on the tinny side, high end. I mean, they're only 5-watt speakers, and the Yamaha PSR speakers are really good for the size, and the CTS-1 speakers are phenomenal for the size. So these are okay, they're decent. And once again, having the ability to enable these while you're using external amplification is a huge feature. So I'm just going to do a quick video just demonstrating what the speakers sound like as picked up by my mic. So let's check that out. Okay, the Roland Piano Partner 2 app, it's a free app from Roland, and the Roland GO Piano 61 is compatible with that app. I've got some experience with that because I used to own a Roland FP30 digital piano that was also compatible with the same app. There's some cool features in there. There's Songs and Digiscore Lite. In that section, you can choose from an included song list and play along with the score. You can choose to mute the left and the right hands, that type of thing. There's a rhythm section where you can basically turn your Go Piano into an arranger keyboard and play along with rhythms and accompaniment. There's 21 different rhythms and 2 variations of each. You can choose to play with drums only or include the accompanying instruments. You can also select synchro start, autofill, set the tempo, that type of thing. One thing I do have to note though, on the Roland GO Piano 61, for some reason the rhythms are way too loud relative to the piano volume, to the point where they're kind of almost unusable. I could not find a way to adjust the rhythm volume up or down without also adjusting the piano volume at the same time. I did look online for solutions to this and I couldn't find any. So if that isn't fixable, then the rhythms are sadly not really that usable in Piano Partner 2 with this keyboard. Flashcards. There's a flashcard section where you can basically test your sight reading or ear training. The app is going to display a card or have you listen to a note, and then you either guess what note to play or read what note to play, that type of thing, and it keeps score. There's a remote controller. That section of Piano Partner 2 allows you to select your tones from the app, so it is a bit easier. But given that there's a menu screen on the Go Piano, this isn't really as huge of an add-on benefit as it was for my Roland FP30, which didn't have a screen, and you had to select tones by holding down a button and hitting keys on the keyboard. So it was much more value on the FP30 than it is really on the Go Piano, because the screen works really well. It's easy to tell what voice you've got selected. There's also a recording section, similar to the onboard recording. It allows you to record MIDI only, and it's just single track, and you can't edit it or anything. So it's, again, nothing too fancy. Once again, just a quick way to capture a simple idea. But the fact that you're recording it on your tablet instead of on the keyboard means you're going to have pretty much unlimited room, however much space your tablet has on it, to be able to record little sound bites or songs. Then there's a diary. Diary basically is to track your sessions on the piano, kind of keep track of your practice. You can run reports on how often you play, on what keys you tend to play, do you hit them too hard, too soft, etc. I didn't spend too much time in this section, but it did look kind of interesting. So the Roland GO Piano 61, final verdict in the competition. The Go Piano 61 has some really good things going for it. There's really good quality piano and electric piano sounds. True full-size touch-sensitive screens. There's a menu screen. It's really easy to make and see your voice selections. There's a onboard dedicated octave shift that's super easy to get at. There's the ability to enable the speakers while using a line out if you're going to perform with the keyboard. And it's super light and super portable, runs on batteries. So what about busking and performing? As I've said in prior reviews, you can busk with a kazoo if you're entertaining enough. So in that regard, why not? That being said, you are definitely going to need some external amplification because the speakers on the Go Piano are only 5 watts and not the greatest speakers out there. But you do have the advantage of being able to enable those speakers while using an external amp, so you have a monitor while you're performing. And having an audio in, whether you're using the audio in with a cable or with a Bluetooth connection, also makes it easy for you to stream in backing tracks to play along with, either for fun or while you're performing. But there's one problem, in my opinion, with the Roland GO Piano 61. I think it's priced a little bit too high for what you're getting. Now, don't get me wrong, I do like this keyboard as a portable option for a piano player, but it has been around for a few years, and just like Yamaha's piano-focused keyboard line called the Piaggero line, it sells for about $350 US new, which puts it kind of at an awkward price point. I just feel there's better options out there for less money, and there's also better options out there for just a tiny bit more money. I've got links to reviews on all of the keyboards that I'm about to talk about below, as well as affiliate links if you want to check out the current availability or pricing on Amazon. Some of the cheaper options. The one I own, the Casiotone CTS1, only sells for about $220 US. And I really like that keyboard. It's got amazing sounds. It's also super portable. The key action has almost a semi-weighted feel, which is great for me, being used to fully weighted keys. And there's also the Yamaha PSR E373, about $200 US. That's actually an arranger keyboard, and it's not quite as portable as the CTS1 or the Go Piano, but it's still reasonably portable. It has some amazing sounds and a fantastic main piano sound, not to mention an audio interface built into the USB port. Then you've got the Alesis Recital 61, which is about $220 US. I reviewed the 88 key version of the Recital, but the 61 key version is basically the same thing. The sounds aren't going to be as good as the sounds on the Go Piano, but they're totally usable. And with the Recital, you're getting semi-weighted keys, left and right line outs, and 20-watt speakers. So that's another option that's about 2/3 the price, again, of the Roland GO Piano. Other thing to keep in mind is if you're willing to spend a tiny bit more money, and if portability really isn't a huge thing for you, then you can actually, for about $380 US, so just a little bit more than the Roland GO Piano, you can get the Alesis Recital Pro, which is a fully weighted digital piano with hammer action keys. And that was actually my first digital piano. I owned it for about a year and I really liked it. So it is definitely heavier, so it's not as portable, but it also has left and right line outs, and it's a pretty big step up from something like this. So again, I just think it's kind of at a bit of an awkward price point. So the final verdict. With all that in mind, I do like the Roland GO Piano 61 as a portable keyboard option for piano players, but I would only really recommend buying one if you can find a used one or you can find one on sale, since I don't feel it's priced competitively anymore. If you can't find a used or a discounted model, I would highly recommend leaning towards one of the other options I mentioned. In particular, the Casiotone CTS1, which is the one that I chose. I just think that's a much better value. So thanks a bunch for checking out their video, and happy piano playing and happy piano shopping. Have a great day.